Hey everybody, welcome to the Multifamily Legacy Podcast. I'm your host, Corey Peterson. And my friends, I am thankful you are here. It is a wonderful day. I am filled with energy. I just came back from vacation at Cabo, and I love bringing you wonderful messages like the message that I'm going to talk about today. We are in the sixth part of a series called The Journey to Legacy Wealth. And today's episode is nothing about the how-to as it is the what is, and that is like what is up with your mind. Okay, we're going to talk today about unlocking that thing, to get that mind working again, to get it to dream again, to get it to be like when you were a little kid, when you believed that everything was possible. And see, that's the challenge in today's world is, as kids, we thought you could do anything. I'm thinking I could be Superman. And I remember, I grew up on a farm, and with that much space and no friends or anybody close, you had to have a vivid, and I mean vivid, imagination. And I never put any filters on it. I used to imagine that I could dream or be or do anything that I put my mind to. And, it's funny that as you get into the world, people, they start to poo-poo on your dreams. And I'm telling you, a lot of times it's the closest. It's the ones that are closest to us that want to bring you down. And, and how do I know that, right? I know it from experience. And so this is nothing that I've not felt or had to face. But reality is that as we start to grow up and become adults, people start telling us, no, you can't do that, or you'll never be able to do this. And, that's only for special people. But here's the fact. The facts are, it's when you decide that you're going to do something, that you do it. That's it. It comes down to a decision. And frankly, that you've made it this far on this sixth part of the series, hopefully you're ready to make one and get your ball rolling, because unlocking your mind is, to me, the most important part of everything that we've talked about in this series. We can teach you how to find deals and how to find money and all the things in between and how to manage properties. But one of the things that I cannot teach you is your grit. Do you got it? You either have some or you don't, man, I'm telling you, right? And grit is that one thing that when you don't feel like doing it, you can do it anyways. And sometimes you're not born with grit. I think you develop grit. I think you get to a point where you're like, enough's enough, and I want something more. And a lot of times it's like you're sitting on a nail. It's kind of irritable, but it hasn't got you quite in the feels yet. Once it gets you in the feels, things start to change, right? And really what happens is you start to change. And you start telling yourself different things like, man, this mill hurts. I got to get up. And I'm gonna get past it. And in life, that really is how it works. So I think there's a process to unlock your mind a little bit. And, we're coming, by the time I think this is going to be airing right in the middle of December, New Year's really close, a new year, a new way to grow and get excited about life and new visions, new passions, new everything. Right? It usually comes in January, but really that thought process comes in November and December, right? Of planning for what tomorrow will look like. And the ones who do it well tend to get a lot more what they want than the ones that do it willy-nilly. If you wait until January to plan, you're probably too far behind. Probably should have spent a little more time in November, December getting it right. Right? And so, but listen, unlocking your mind. Number one, I think there's a kind of a 3 or 4 step process. And it's not that I wrote down the steps, but I kind of gave myself a guidelines and outlines of of how I want to talk about this, because I think this is something that I do very naturally. And I had to think about it for a minute. It's like, well, what do I do? Like, how do I go there? And how do I get in that creative spot so I can see my vision? And some of this is a little bit of training too, is with a lot of things that I've learned. But I believe that step one is to burn it to the ground. And when I say it, I mean all of it. Like all your work stuff, even even what you're doing with your family and everything, like just first of all, burn it all to the ground. So there's nothing in the way standing. And we're going to reconstruct what we want. See, what happens a lot of times is we kind of go in and we got all these little structures and things, and then we try to like put and find space for it, and nothing fits correctly. It's kind of like playing a video game where you're trying to, Tetris, and you got all the pieces, and if you don't, if you're just throwing them in real quick, it's going to be a mess. Well, we don't want a mess. We want order. We want a fulfilled life. I think we want what most people want, and I talk about it all the time, is time and money. How do you get both? How do you get money? And when I talk about money, I'm talking about that passive money, that recurring, never ever or everlasting gobstopper kind of money that you can't run out of. That kind of money. That's sexy. That's exciting. And then the time to be able to enjoy and do things with it, right? Or to gift or to give others with it, to change the world with it. You name it, right? But it gives you options. So how do we get there? Step one is burn it to the ground, man. Take everything that you're doing, and I kind of want you to close your eyes. Now, if you're driving, don't close your eyes. But just work with me here, okay? You're going to mentally close your eyes, and you're going to burn it to the ground first. Step one, burn it to the ground. Step two is you got to start building, like, what does your day and life and stuff look like? And I want to say, like, you're going to do this first with your personal life. Forget about business and work. Like, we don't even start with work. No, don't even start there. Don't even try, like, I'm going to envision what my business is. No, don't do it. Don't make that mistake, okay? Don't make it. You've got to vision your life, your personal life first. If you don't put you and your family first, who's going to, my friend? Who's going to? It has to be you. It cannot be someone else. You have to put you and your family first in life, no matter what. Put God first, actually, and then put your family. Okay? Put God first, then your wife, and then your kids. And that's the order that I have it stacked in. It works for me. And what I'm saying is, like, and then so close your eyes, and I want you to vision, like, what does your days look like? In other words, how often are you going and dating your wife? Do you make it to your kids' games? Do you have time in your days where you can just go out and have some fun and not worry about work? Are you taking Fridays off? Do you have gym time? Do you go to the gym every day? Right? Do you work out? Are you fit? Are you healthy? And it doesn't matter if you have none of these things going on right now. You want to look at it as if it's burned to the ground and this is my perfect day. Right? I woke up in the morning. I went to the gym. I got out of the gym. I came home. And either my wife went with me to the gym, or she woke up and then we went on our hour-long walk together. And what happened on that walk? We talked a little bit about business, but maybe we just talked about life and the kids. And we were holding hands, and we're living, and we're smiling, and we're communicating. Probably the best we've ever communicated in years, right? And then I get back, and I take my shower. I start work at 9:00. 9:00, and like, okay, so we're not talking about work yet. So I'm saying I'm gonna start at 9. Okay, boom, got it. What time am I getting off? Am I taking an hour lunch? Do I have an hour lunch set aside for me just to like be in my own world? Maybe I just want to have some time to really enjoy that lunch period, and not like how does that work? What time do I get off? Is it 4 o'clock? Is it 6 o'clock? What time is it for you? And for me, it's 4. I get off at 4. My calendar stops at 4 o'clock. Nothing can be scheduled. From 4 to the rest of the evening, it's my time. And I make sure that I'm available for all my kids' games and sports and, activities. And if there's activities that come in between those, like with my kids, it gets scheduled. I will not miss those things. I tell myself I will not miss these things. You have to tell yourself these are important. I will not let events get in the way. I will not let seminars get in the way. I will not let masterminds get in the way. I will hold these dates and times sacred, and I will keep them because someone is watching. It's your family, and they want you to keep them. They absolutely do. They don't look at money as the commodity, by the way. It's not. Okay? The only commodity that anybody's caring about, right, is time. That's the big moneymaker, my friends. It has nothing to do with money. Your family, their currency is time, and they want it from you. They crave it. They desire it. It is the one thing that you bring into the equation that is joyful, that's fulfilling, that's meaningful, that gives you utmost importance and significance. That's what your family wants and desires from you. So give it to them. And so as you're opening your eyes, right? So like you just look at your best day of like how you're spending your time, and you know that you gave yourself some work time in there, but you carved out, your mornings. You should be carving out a lunchtime for you. Maybe you're carving off too. Maybe it's not a Monday through Friday gig. Maybe like me, you take Fridays off. I cannot be scheduled on Fridays. And now Fridays are my time. I could schedule myself if I wanted to, but I tend not to. My team can't do it. That's for damn sure. Those Fridays are sacred. Why? Because I made that important in my life, that's how I wanted to live. So when you do that, now, okay, so that's just kind of what your day looks like. Now, like, what does your life look like? Where do you drive? What are you driving? How do you feel when you drive it? What does your wife drive? What are your kids doing? What kind of vacations are you taking? How often are you taking vacations? Right? Do you bring your kids? Or do you vacation with just your spouse? I personally have a little bit of both. Like me and my wife are going on a vacation every year, just me and her. And it will just be me and her, not friends, not anybody else. It is like we try to do it in our anniversary. The date that made the most impact in our lives is the day we got married. Why not hold that sacred? Why not put it to where you and your spouse, you get away, just me and you. You need that, by the way. If you're married, you need it. If you're not, fine. When you get married, you're going to need it, because relationships are not hard, but they're not easy. They take work. And how you rekindle your magic and your love is to take time to reinvest in the relationship. And you cannot do that when you do it with somebody else, because if you go on a vacation with someone else, you are already now giving away some of your energy to that other person. And it's not the way to do it. So I'm telling you, now this is for you, but I'm just telling you, for me, Corey has his time with his spouse. He puts it in high regard, and he makes sure that he spends as much time doing those things necessary. And that's usually a vacation a year just for me and my wife. If me and my wife are not happy, how can we give that joy to our kids? We can't. And so I've scheduled it to where we make sure we do that. Then more importantly, what does your family time look like? You get 18 summers with your kids. Maybe a couple more, but mainly 18 summers. What are you doing? Right? Are you scheduling some vacations with your kids? Now, they don't have to be very monetarily expensive. Again, kids don't care where, when, or why. They just want it to happen. Some time with you, Dad. Sometimes with you, Mom, to be special. Right? Now, some of those times, and in the early years, are just you. and your kids. Not another family. Like I see a lot of people always go with another family. That's okay, but in the beginning when your kids are young, I think you should do it with you and your kids, just your family. How do you create your family unit if you never had a unit? If you never had a bond? I highly recommend taking some early in the early years. Now, as they get older, I get it. Your kids are like, mom and dad are boring. How do I know? They'll still do it with us, but they enjoy it when they have other friends. But that was the exception to the rule. In the beginning, it was just us, and it was Team Peterson. And my kids can cry Team Peterson. They know our war cry. They know who we are. They know what Team Peterson's about. And hopefully they'll bring it on to their kids and create their own Team Petersons with their children as they get older. But again, we're setting the expectations. And so, do you have a boat? Do you have a vacation house? And don't even worry about yet affording any of this stuff. We are just if you could build it, what does it really look like? What do you want? Because the how is not important as your why. Because you're going to look back and say, well, what do I want? What is it? Put it out there and say, what do you really want? Because a lot of times we can spitball this stuff, but then you're like, well, what do I really want? What I really want is a happy family that I can go on some vacations, that all my bills are paid for, and I have some money left over. I get to do some charitable events, and I have significance that I help others. That's it. If I do that for the rest of my life, I will be fulfilled and happy. So now step 3 is to now we're going to insert your business. So in other words, if you were going to, and I'm doing this all, and I think about a calendar, right? I think about having a Google Calendar, and the first thing I'm going to do is make some recurring time blocks from 8 or from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. It's time blocked, and it's called Corey's morning time or gym time or whatever it is that you're no one can get on your schedule till after 9. Could be after 10. For me, it's after 9 o'clock. Nothing happens till 9 o'clock. I don't have to be in my desk ready for work till 9. All the time up until then is me time. And that's how I use it. I go to the gym, then I go for my walk, and then I come back and have enough time to get showered and ready, and then I'm ready for 9 o'clock. I'm ready. And, that's the way my calendar works. And then my vacations. We calendar vacations. Now, you may not be good at calendaring, but I'm going to tell you that's one of the skill sets you want to learn. And putting all these things up and planning well in advance. He who plans well usually has pretty good intentions of getting what you plan for. And if you plan far enough in advance, the reality is of most of those things happening can become reality, right? So I can't afford a vacation. Well, what if you planned a year and a half down the road to do it? And you started putting the money away little by little. Could you do it then? Yep. So you can do anything you want to if you put your mind to it and you plan it. Okay? So I try to plan all my personal vacations and life, and I give myself the latitude that things can come up. It's okay. We try to, when we get school schedules, we put them in there. When we get sports schedules, we put them in there. All these things, we get them in our calendar as soon as possible. Because we live and die by our calendar. I live and die by my calendar. I didn't used to be this way, by the way. Didn't used to. I used to suck at this, by the way. Okay? But what I found is that by doing this, by controlling my time, it is again, we already know it's the most biggest commodity that you can spend, that you have to spend. And most of us are going through it like crap. Most of us are blowing and going. And you look back, you say, where did the hell did the time go? I missed being a dad. I screwed up on going to the games. I'm depressed. I hate my life. Life sucked. I feel like that's how a lot of people go through it, man. There's times and they just go blazing through and they forget that they're alive. You're alive. I'm telling you right now, you're listening to this podcast. You are alive. God made you unique. He made you special. He made you be able to do things that no one else can do. And I'm telling you, by you just sitting here listening to this podcast, you have greatness in you. You can be something absolutely amazing that no one's ever seen or heard about. You can do whatever you put your mind to, kids. I'm telling you, it is true today. It was true tomorrow. It was true yesterday. Whatever you put your mind to, you can achieve. But you got to be willing to do the work. And part of doing the work is calendaring up. If you want to control your time, you got to start doing the things that the people that can control time do. Because it is a limited resource, my friends, and we don't know when it's going to roll out and when your time is cut off. So why not live to the fullest and take the leaps? Get afraid, make some failures, but make some success also, right? Be diligent, stay true, find mentors, course correct when needed. All this leads to a journey that is beyond measure, that is success is waiting right behind the door. And all you got to do is open that door and step into it and embrace it and embrace the journey. I'm telling you, it'll change your life. Step 3 is to build your business. Okay. Now you put your business life into it. And then we kind of start from the beginning again as well, saying, what does my business look like? How many units do you own if it's apartments, right? What kind of cash flow does it spit off? What kind of, do you own your own property management company or do you use third party out? Like, just start envisioning what life would look like. And again, we're not putting limits on it. And honestly, if I was to be honest, I'd be telling you, like, take whatever you're thinking now and 10 times it, 10x it, because you're probably not dreaming big enough. And here's the big thing too. The problem with most of us is not that we don't dream, it's that we don't dream big enough. I mean, a lot of us are dreaming so small that it's like, and if you dream small and you only get like a little piece of that, that sucks. So if you're going to take the time to dream, go big. Dream big. Dream of something heroic and like something massive that the thought of getting there should make you tremble. Should put you to your knees, man, and think, oh my God, when you look back, said, I'm here and this is the journey. Wow. That should be your response. Oh my, I never thought I could. And here's the truth. When I first started in real estate, my first dream was I just want to be able to pay my bills, man. That's as far as I got. That's it, man. Here I'm telling you, dream big. And my biggest dream was I wanted to pay my bills. And I didn't. Because I didn't dream big enough. All I thought was, I was just trying to figure out how to quit my job and pay my bills. That was step 1. But at least it was a dream, and I watered it. And it got me into action. And then I took action with it. But what I soon realized is that vision wasn't big enough. It was not the one thing, because your vision has to be so good and defined. And like when you look at like your business goals of what you want to do for business, the clearer you can be on what it looks like will help you get there, because obstacles are going to come in your way. Failure is right around the corner. It's right on the corner, like right behind success is failure. Every time, it's like right there. The more success you have, just the bigger failure can be right behind you. It never leaves. To this day, I'm still failing. I'm still failing forward. I still get scared. I still get nervous. Why? Because I'm still living my life to the fullest. Because once I hit a plateau and I get on top of a goal, I've got to do this again. I got to find a bigger goal. And it's got to be one that makes you tremble, that makes you scared. That's how you know if you're alive or not, I think. At least for me it is. So with your business, okay, you're closing your eyes and thinking about like, How many units? What does it look like? What kind of passive income? What does your team look like? Who's working? Do you have an office? Do you not have an office? Are you on the beach, working from your iPhone? So it doesn't matter what it looks like. For everybody, it's different. For me, I call it sunsets and palm trees. My life looks like me and a small team, right? That's it. And it could be that I have right? So I have two different versions of this. It's either me and a small team, or really I still say it's a small team, because I may have someone that's kind of like a CEO of another company that's called a management company, where we manage our own properties, but I'm only going to have to report to one person. It's a small team for me. I like that idea. Me and a small team of about 5. That's all I want. And those 5 can then manage many. But I want to keep myself in a circle of about 5 to 7 people, and that's it. And I want to be able to go on these vacations and live my best life as I go along the journey, as I've added new pieces and new strategies. But I still so I never stopped putting my personal goals first. Now, in the beginning of my real estate career, I sucked at this. I was an absolute shit show. I was a mess. But I learned how to get better. I learned how to start controlling my time, controlling my thoughts, controlling my actions. And actions becomes words. Words become powerful. Words have meaning, and words can change you. How do I know, right? Because I'm telling myself every day that I'm a multi-millionaire, and that, capital shows up at my door and wants to get to know me because I know how to make it grow. What do you tell yourself, right? And does it matter? And I'm telling you, you have to have this has to be, because we're all playing tapes that loop all the time in our minds. And what is your tape saying right now? What is it saying? And if it's a bad track, you need to skip it. And if it's a great track, keep listening to it time and time again, right? I'm in a good track, man. I've had times where I've been in bad tracks, and man, sometimes, you have to force yourself, and it's hard to condition yourself to say you're successful when you're not, right? But I've had to do it. I had to make myself believe, even when I didn't have it. And even now I put new goals that I don't have, but I won't, that's it. And I'm acting as if I already have it. It is that important. It's that vital to your success. So as you build your business life, okay, here's the real trick now. Here's the conversion, is you put your personal goals down first, and then your business has to fit in the cracks, right? And all those other time slots that you had available to work, that's where your business has to sit. And if it can't go there, then you need to figure it out and change it. Because the one thing that doesn't change is the personal. It has to stay there. It has to stay. If your personal stuff is not staying, dude, you're doing it wrong. You are, man. It has to stay. Your personal life is the one thing that does not. It is the rock that your family, that you can count on, that you don't sit there and go willy-nilly on it. It has to be that passionate for it to be that important. And once that importance has gotten there, it is then very easy to put your business on top and say, listen, I work from 9 to 4 and I have my hour lunch. That's it, Monday through Thursday. Any other time, and then I go on vacations, I date my wife, I have all these things that go into my calendar, and I don't change them for pretty much anybody. My team's made the mistake of booking things in my block time, and I get really pissy. I kind of become an asshole. Without a better word for it, but that's how I feel, because that's sacred time. I put those times in for me and my family, and it's sacred. And that really is how your personal life has to be. It's that strong. You put your business on top of it. And then, so let's kind of migrate to why mindset matters. I talk about this in every podcast. I'm going to spend a little more time just talking about it in this setting, to say, I don't care where you start. I do not care, because you can get there. I don't care if you started like me from the very bottom, like the Drake song, started from the bottom, now I'm here. Okay, I start from the bottom. And listen, I don't even think it's the bottom because I know there's people that farther down started worse scenarios than I did. I had great parents. Some people didn't have that. I had great parents. Didn't have a lot of money, but I had a great upbringing as a child. I had a great mentor, my dad. Not everybody has that. Okay, so I even though it's bottom maybe money, it's not the bottom. People start from way less. There's a lot of people that start with a little bit more. So it doesn't matter, right? Because anywhere once you understand where you're at, you can then plot the journey of where you need to go. And for you guys listening to this, if you're in corporate America, you got golden handcuffs, or, if you're in, a doctor, dentist, lawyer, you want control of your time. You want to not have to go to work. So start putting one foot in the door. The wonderful thing about apartments is it's usually a team sport. What part can you play to help build your legacy wealth? To help build what is it? How do you carve out that time to get to your goals so you can live the life that no one else can live? And it starts with belief. It does. Kids, it just starts there. It is the unequivocal truth in life is you've got to believe it. You have to put yourself in a position where you see that vision clearly and you say it to yourself daily. Daily, my friends. Daily, 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 daily. It has to be, you have to own it. You have to own it. When you do, amazing things will show up. And for me, that has been my story in real estate, is when I truly committed. I committed beyond reason. People are like, why are you still doing this? When I was in the beginning, it's like I was grinding and I was failing them more than I was winning. But I was learning. Oh, I wish that you never have to learn those lessons that I learned. Listen to more of my podcasts, please. Because some of those lessons are brutal. They're brutal. But I was never going to quit. I just never was. You will never be able to make Corey Peterson quit. Ever. Man. And that's a Peterson mantra, right? My dad taught it to me. He's like, Corey. And we talked about it, when my dad talks about hustle. And when I was a young kid, Dad was like, hey, listen, if coach says run around the pole or the light pole, you better be first. The only way you're not first is someone has to physically beat you. Right? Because that's usually just a mental game. Dad taught me how to play a strong mental game from very young. As a young boy, I knew that I had mental strength. And a lot of you may not have that. It's okay. But you better start working on it. You start to massage it every day. Get better at it. Get good at it, because roadblocks and difficulties are coming. And you've got to have the mental strength to tell yourself that you are the one when you don't feel like it. Okay? That is an undeniable truth, is that roadblocks will come and they're always going to be there. And how you handle that is what's going to be what shapes you and allow you to become great, right? And I'm telling you, as you're listening to this podcast, hear me on this. You are special. And I mean that. I mean, you alone are special. God gave you a gift, and he gave you a desire. That's why you're listening to this podcast, that you want to get out and live that legacy wealth style. And you can have it. You have to be willing to do the work, but I know you can. I know you have that one thing. I know you're ready to do the work. I know you want to do the work. I know you want that passive income, and that desire is so strong in you that fills you with strength and joy, and it radiates within you. Take that and then go out each and every day and do one little thing to get you closer to your goal. It's really that simple. It is no harder than that. Is by you taking the idea and watering it and doing just a couple little things that most people are not going to do, It will allow you to become great. Good and great, the difference is just a little bit. The difference is just a little bit. But if you will practice on being great when most people are just trying to be good, right? It'll separate you by miles and miles and miles. That is the difference between multimillionaire and I got a couple dollars in my pocket. Okay? It's only by our little thing in our mind that separates us, but the distance in between is gigantic. Guys, if you're listening to this podcast, know in your heart, know without, just believe it, my friends. If I could just wrap my arms around you and hug you and put hands on you and just pray with you that God created you special. He wants you to be successful, right? And if you believe it, you can achieve it, and your paradise is possible.